Good morning everyone. Basa na tayo ng Bible guys. 1 Kings chapter 14 and 15 and Luke chapter 22 verse 21 to 46. Tama ba? Luke 22 chapter 22 verse 21 to 46. Mayan ang dating yung puntahan guys. Dito muna tayo sa 1 Kings chapter 14. Ahijah's prophecy against Jeroboam. At that time, Abijah son of Jeroboam became ill, and Jeroboam said to his wife, "Go disguise yourself so you won't be recognized as the wife of Jeroboam. Then go to Shiloh. Ahijah the prophet is there, the one who told me I would be king over these people. Take 10 loaves of bread with you, some cakes, and a jar of honey, and go to him. He will tell you what will happen to the boy." So Jeroboam's wife did what he said and went to Ahijah's house in Shiloh. Now Ahijah could not see. His sight was gone because of his age. So matanda na si Ahijah. But the Lord had told Ahijah, "Jeroboam's wife is coming to ask you about her son, and he is ill, and you are to give her such and such an answer. When she arrives, she will pretend to be someone else." Basang yung manghuhula, yung prophecy, sinabihan na siya ni Father God. Kaya alam na niya na mag-disguise yung asawa ni Jeroboam. So when Ahijah heard the sound of her footsteps at the door, he said, "Come in, wife of Jeroboam. Why this pretense? I have been sent to you with bad news. Go, tell Jeroboam, and made you a leader over my people, Israel. I tore the kingdom away from the house of David and gave it to you. But you have not been like my servant David, who kept my commands and followed me with all his heart, doing only what was right in my eyes. You have done more evil than all who live before you. You have made for yourself other gods, idols made of metal." Ayaw niya talaga yan guys. Yung sumamba ka sa Diyos-Diyosan. "You have provoked me to anger and thrust me behind your back. Because of this, I am going to bring disaster on the house of Jeroboam. I will cut off from Jeroboam every..." Actually, siya eh. Naalala niyo yung nagalit siya kay King Solomon ba yun? Tapos, ang paparusahan niya, hindi pa sa tayo ni King Solomon, kundi doon sa tayo ng anak na niya. So, dito kay Jeroboam talaga, nagalo-halo na. Yung kasalanan ni Jeroboam, tsaka yung kasalanan ng tatay niya. So, dito. Because of this, I am going to bring disaster on the house of Jeroboam. I will cut off from Jeroboam every last male in Israel, slave or free. Wow. Noong araw guys, yung parusang kamatayan, napakadali sa kanila. I will burn out the house of Jeroboam as one burns down, until it is all gone. Dogs will eat those belongings. Dogs will eat those belonging to Jeroboam who die in the city, and the birds of the air will feed bulol na. Will feed on those who die in the country. The Lord has spoken. As for you, go back home. When you set foot in your city, the boy will die." Aya. Kawawa naman yung bata. "All Israel will mourn for him and bury him. He is the only one belonging to Jeroboam who will be buried, because he is the only one in the house of Jeroboam in whom the Lord, the God of Israel, has found anything good." Kaysa isa mong Mamamatay pa, pambihira. The Lord will raise up. Ayan, pumiyok na tayo. The Lord will raise up for himself a king over Israel who will cut off the family of Jeroboam. This is the day. What? Yes, even now. And the Lord will strike Israel so that it will be like a reed swaying in the water. He will uproot Israel from this good land that he gave to their forefathers, and scatter them beyond the river, because they provoke the Lord to anger by making Asherah poles. And he will give Israel up because of the sins Jeroboam has committed and has caused Israel to commit. Then Jeroboam's wife got up and left and went to Tirzah. As soon as she stepped over the threshold of the house, the boy died. Oh, yeah. They buried him, and all Israel mourned for him, as the Lord had said through his servant the prophet Ahijah. The other events of Jeroboam reigned, his wars, and he ruled. Alam niyo guys, nung araw talaga yung gera-gera na yan. Hindi mo malaman kung mainis ka. Ba't gano'n na nabubuhay sila sa gera? Parating may gera. Nangalay na yung papoy kay inaano ko. And how herald are written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. He reigned for 22 years, and then rested with his fathers. And Nadab, his son, succeeded him as king. Alam mo niyo kasi guys, mana-mana yung posisyon nila. Kung sino yung anak, yun ang magiging hari. Kaya minsan sa dami ng anak nag-aagawan. Sino ba yung nag-declare ng sarili niya para maging hari? Nakalimutan ko na rin. Rehoboam, king of Judah. Nadab. Yung anak ni Jeroboam, si Nadab, diba? Yan ang maging hari ulit. Tapos dito naman, Rehoboam, king of Judah. Rehoboam, son of Solomon, was king in Judah. Oh, sorry. Yung Jeroboam, naalala ko na, parang ito yung commander ng ng army. Tama ba? Kasi sabi ko sa inyo, magkahawig-hawig ng pangalan yung mga yan eh. Kasi ang anak ni King Solomon is Rehoboam ang pangalan. So yung Jeroboam parang sa army yata siya. Rehoboam, son of Solomon, was king in Judah. Ako kasi pag nabasa ko guys, nakakalimutan ko na agad. Kaya nung araw pag mataas ka rin sa military, may pag-asang magiging hari ka. Kahit naman si King David, di ba? Ordinary lang naman yung kanyang ama, pero nagiging hari siya kasi natalo niya sa si Goliath ba yun? Yan. Kaya yung mga sa army, ay yung sa mga sa military, medyo may pag-asang magiging nasa mataas na posisyon. Rehoboam, sa verse 21 na tayo guys. Rehoboam, king of Judah. Basa na para mabilis. Rehoboam, son of Solomon, was king in Judah. He was 41 years old when he became king, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city of the Lord. The city the Lord had chosen out of all the tribes of Israel in which to put his name. His mother's name was Naamah. She was an Ammonite. Judah did evil in the eyes of the Lord. By the sins they committed, they stirred up his jealous anger more than their fathers had done. They also set up for themselves high places, sacred stones, and Asherah poles, as every high hill and under every spreading tree. There were even male shrine prostitutes in the land. The people engaged in all the detestable practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before the Israelites. In the 5th year of King Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, attacked Jerusalem. So, pinalitan na ba sa King Parao? Shishak na yung pangalan. Shishak, king of Egypt, attacked Jerusalem, carried off the treasures of the temple of the Lord and the treasures of the royal palace. So, ginera na naman nila yung Jerusalem. Sabi na sa'yo, walang katapusan, gira-gira yun. Kakainis. Kahit nababasa lang natin sa Bible. He carried out the treasures. Kasi may imagine mo na yan guys ang gulo-gulo. Nila noong araw. He carried out the treasures of the temple of the Lord and the treasures of the royal palace. He took everything, including all the gold shields Solomon had made. So King Rehoboam made bronze shields to replace them and assigned this to the commanders of the guard. So yung gold shield na kinuha ng king ng Egypt, pinalitan na lang ni Rehoboam ng bronze shields to replace them and assign this to the commanders of the guard on duty at the entrance to the royal palace. Whenever the king went to the Lord's temple, the guards bore the shields and afterward they returned them to the guard room. As for the other events of Rehoboam's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? Mahanap kaya natin tong guys, yung book na to. Book of the Annals of the Kings of Judah. There was continual warfare between Rehoboam and Jeroboam. Pero alam mo to dati si Jeroboam tsaka si Rehoboam, magkasama to sa kay King Solomon dati. Diba? And Rehoboam rested with his fathers and was buried with him in the city of David. His mother's name was Naamah. She was an Ammonite, and Abijah his son succeeded him as king. So yun, kung sino yung anak, yun ang papalit. So kay Jeroboam si Nadab ang pumalit, diba? Baka naman ito si Nadab tsaka si Abijah mag-aaway din. Away ng tatay, away din ng Abijah, king of Judah. In the 18th year of the reign of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, Abijah became king. Ang gulo. Tingnan mo guys. Dito sa verse 20 ng 1 Kings chapter 14. Ang pumalit kay Jeroboam, si Nadab. Tapos dito naman sa chapter 15, ang pumalit, in the 18th year of the reign of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, Abijah became king. Si Abijah, anak to ni Rehoboam ng ano ba talaga, huwag mo sabihin typographical error yan. Conflict, sabihin natin dito, ang ating reaction. Conflict doon sa chapter 14 Verse 20. Nag-aaral talaga ng gusto. Verse 20. Bakit po ang anak ni doon is Nadab, diba? Nadab. Tapos dito, naging anak niya si Abijah. Anak yan ni Rehoboam. Ay, ano ba? And Rehoboam rested with his fathers and buried. She was an Ammonite and Abijah and succeeded. Dito sa verse sa verse 31, 14:31, si Abijah is a son of Rehoboam. Nagkakabaliktad na. Tapos dito sa 15, nagiging anak si Abijah ni Jeroboam. Wala sila. In the 18th year of the reign of Jeroboam son of Nebat, Abijah became king of Judah, and he reigned in Jerusalem. Oh, I see. Hindi guys, hindi siya conflict. Ang pinapaliwanag niya, yung sa 18th year daw ni Jeroboam, si Abijah ang naging king ng Judah, which is anak si Abijah ni King Rehoboam. So yun, nagits ko na. Kala ko conflict eh. So, sorry po. Yun. And he reigned in Jerusalem 3 years. His mother's name was Micah, daughter of Abishalom. Ay, ayaw ko nang intindihin yung mga niyo, family tree niyo. Masakit sa ulo ah. He committed all the sins his father and he committed all the sins his father had done before him. His heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his forefather had been. Wala na makakapantay doon. Nevertheless, for David's sake, the Lord his God gave him a lamb in Jerusalem by raising up his son to succeed him and by making Jerusalem strong. For David had done what was right in the eyes of the Lord and had not failed to keep any of the Lord's commands all the days of his life, except in the case of Uriah the Hittite. Yeah, kasi yung asawa ni Uriah, si Bathsheba, diba? Ginawa niyang asawa, binuntis niya yun. Ay. Except in the case of Uriah the Hittite. There was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam throughout Abijah's lifetime. Walang katapusang giyera guys. There was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam throughout Abijah's lifetime. As for the other events of Abijah's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? There was war between Abijah and Jeroboam, and Abijah rested with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. And Asa, his son, succeeded him as king. So, wala nang election guys. Basta kung sino yung anak yun ang magmamana ng tronong hari. Asa, king of Judah. Asa, king of Judah. In the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Asa became king of Judah, and he reigned in Jerusalem 41 years. His grandmother's name was Micah, daughter of Abishalom. Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, as his father David had done. Asa did, sa verse 11 guys, Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord as his father David had done. He expelled the male shrine prostitutes from the land and got rid of all the idols his fathers had made. He even, he even deposed his grandmother Micah from her position as queen mother because she had made a repulsive Asherah pole. Asa cut the pole down and burned it in the Kidron Valley. Although he did not remove the high places, Asa's heart was fully committed to the Lord all his life. He brought into the temple of the Lord the silver and gold and the articles that he and his father had dedicated. There was war between Asa and Baasha king of Israel throughout the reigns. Baasha king of Israel went up against Judah and fortified Ramah to prevent anyone from leaving or entering the territory of Asa king of Judah. Asa then took all the silver and gold that was left in the treasuries of the Lord's temple and his own palace, entrusted it to his officials, and sent them to Ben-Hadad, son of Tabrimon, the son of Hisham. Ayan ba guys, matatandaan niyo yung mga pangalan na yan. Bukod sa mahirap na bigkasin, hindi naman natin alam yung mga lugar na yan. So, pasadahan lang natin. The king of Aram was rolling in Damascus. Let there be a treaty between me and you, he said, as there was between my father and your father. See, I am sending you a gift of silver and gold. Now break your treaty with Baasha, king of Israel, so he will withdraw from me. Ben-Hadad agreed, the king of Asa, and sent the commanders of his forces against the towns of Israel. He conquered Ijon, Dan, Abel, Beth, Mecca, and all Kinnereth, in addition to Naphtali. When Baasha heard this, he stopped building Ramah and withdrew to Tirzah. The king of Asa issued an order to all Judah, no one was exempt, and they carried away from Ramah the stones and timber Baasha had been using there, with the king Asa built of Geba in Benjamin and also Mizpah. As for all the other events of Asa's reign, all his achievements, all he did, and the cities he built, are they not written in the book of the annals of the king of Judah? In his old age, however, his feet became diseased. Then Asa rested with his fathers and was buried with the city in the city of his father David. And Jehoshaphat, his son, succeeded him as king. Ay, ayoko na tandaan yung mga pangalan na yan. So, after kay Jehoshaphat naman, after kay Asa, Nadab, king of Israel. Ito yung anak ni Jeroboam. Nasabi ko is conflict. Hindi naman pala talaga. Sorry po. Nakala ko typographical error eh. Hindi pala. Nadab, king of Israel. Nadab, son of Jeroboam, became king of Israel in the second year of Asa, king of Judah, and he reigned over Israel 2 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, walking in the ways of his father, and in his sin, which he had caused Israel to commit. Baasha, son of Ahijah of the house of Issachar, plotted against him, and he struck him down at Gibeton, a Philistine town, while Nadab and all Israel were besieging it. Baasha killed Nadab in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, and succeeded him as king. As soon as he began to reign, he killed Jeroboam's whole family. Oh yeah. As soon as he began to reign, he killed Jeroboam. See Asa, guys. whole family, Jeroboam's whole family. Biro mo yun, no? Buong pamilya ni Jeroboam. Pinatay ni Asa. He did not leave Jeroboam anyone that read, but destroyed them all according to the word of the Lord given to his servant Ahijah the Shilonite. Because of the sins Jeroboam had committed and had caused Israel to commit, and because he provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger. As for the other events of Nadab's reign, and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the king of Israel? Anong klaseng book ba ito, guys? Book of the annals of the king of Israel. There was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, throughout the reigns. Okay. Wala kayong katapusang gira, bahala kayo. Dito na tayo sa Luke, chapter 22. 22 verse 21 to 46. So, bukas meron pa rin karugtong, guys. Grabe, haba. Basa. Sa verse 21 ng Luke 22, chapter 22, verse 21. But the hand of him who is going to betray me is with mine on the table. The Son of Man will go as it has been decreed. But woe to that man who betrays him. They began to question among themselves which of them it might be who would do this. Also a dispute arose among them as to which of them was considered to be greatest. Jesus said to them, the kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who exercise authority over them call themselves benefactors. But you are not to be like that. Instead, the greatest among you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. For who is greater, the one who is at the table, or the one who serves? Is it not the one who is at the table? But I am among you as one who serves. You are those who have stood by me in my trials, and I confer on you kingdom, just as my Father conferred one on me. So yan, guys, maliwanag na mayroong isa pang pinakamataas, si Father God yun. Just as my Father conferred one on me. Sa verse 30 na tayo. So that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Ang kwento talaga ng Bible, guys, no, nag-umpisa lang talaga sa mga anak ni Jacob. Ay, sa kay Jacob lang talaga nakatuon. Kasi itong 12 tribes ng Israel, sa mga anak niya to eh. Hindi nga kasali si DNA, yung anak niyang babae. Walang naman. Tsaka si Levi, wala siyang tribes. Walang tribes si Levi. Sa dalawang anak ni Ephraim, ni Joseph, si Ephraim tsaka si Manasseh, nagkaroon ng tribe. Pero si Levi tsaka si Dina, wala. Sorry. Jesus predicts Peter's denial. Ito yung pinagkaila siya. Simon, Satan has asked to sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. But he replied, Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and to death. Jesus answered, I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me. Then Jesus asked them, when I sent you without purse, bag, or sandals, did you lack anything? Nothing, they answered. He said to them, but now if you have a purse, take it, and also a bag. And if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. It is written, and he was numbered. It is written, and he was numbered with transgressors. And I tell you that this must be fulfilled in me. Yes, what is written about me is reaching its fulfillment. Paano pag meron din kayang gumaya kay Jesus ngayon? Na ganun. So, and I tell you that this must be fulfilled in me. Yes, what is written about me is reaching its fulfillment. Gagaya kay Jesus, tapos sasabihin siya yung kailangan mangyari para mag-fulfillment ko yung nasabi rito, guys. Sa panahon ba natin ba? Kasi sa panahon to ni Jesus eh. Yes, what is written about me is reaching its fulfillment. The disciples said, see, Lord, here are 2 swords. That is enough, he replied. Jesus agonizes in the garden. Jesus went out, as usual, to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. On reaching the place, he said to them, pray that you will not fall into temptation. He withdrew about a stone's throw behind them, knelt down, and prayed, Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling on the ground. When he rose from prayer and went back to the disciples, he found them asleep. Exhausted from sorrow. Why are you sleeping? He asked. He asked them, get up and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. Antok na siguro yung mga disciples kaya nakatulog. Bye everyone. God bless.